let me get started. Hello fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. It was 3 years ago, hot summer of 2009. I was heading to Incheon International Airport to go to Mauritius, a beautiful island in Africa country. Yes, I was about to start my summer vacation. Actually, that vacation was the first vacation that I had after I had started my own business. I established my company, Longtail Books, in 2007. I worked really hard. And 2 years of non-stop hard working, I finally had a chance to take a break. Now you can guess how much I was expecting to have this wonderful vacation. Right? And after 3 times of transfer, I finally arrived in Mauritius Airport. I felt so great. And it was time to get my luggage and to go out to my hotel. But the problem is, my luggage never came out. So I waited and waited, and all of the passengers were gone with their own luggage. And I found a garbage bag instead of my luggage. But surprisingly, my luggage tag was on it. So I was really shocked and brought it to airport officer and told him something is totally wrong. And he said with pitiful eyes, "Oh well, that means your luggage is stolen on the way here." And well, I think the thief must have put your tag on it to fool the conveyance system. So, did you put anything valuable in that? I think you better give up getting back your luggage. The only thing you can do is to report this accident to the airline company. They will compensate you. Well, I did report, but my problem was still not solved. You know, I was in Mauritius, a beautiful island, in Africa, with nothing. All of my stuff, my clothes, my beachwear underwears, and my toiletries, and my sunglasses, and even my laptop were all gone. Have you ever imagined yourself being alone in Africa with nothing? I strongly recommend you never to try. And you must bring your proper underwear. What you can buy there as underwear is only a piece of cloth. You know, African style underwear. I never It's awful. And I went there to enjoy my vacation, but I had to stay there like local native African. It was terrible. But after 3 days, I realized that staying there and living like an African was actually not that bad. Actually, even enjoyable because I felt so free. Yeah, I had nothing to lose, literally. And I learned one important lesson. Before this accident, I used to say, well, material possession does not bring happiness in your life. And the meaning of life is not about what you have. But after this experience, I never say those words ever again. Materials, what you have, does matter. At least having proper underwear does matter. It was kind of a spiritual experience that actually made me rethink about materialism in some way. And on the way back to Korea, I have even more interesting event. The airline company had to compensate for my loss because it was their fault. And I took South Africa Airways at the time. So I went to SAA office, Mauritius branch. And I told the staff everything that happened. And the staff said, "Oh, well then, we will compensate you $200. And I said, "Are you kidding me? Only $200? It cost me more than $2,000. And he said, "I'm sorry, but there's nothing more that I can do for you because we have a regulation. So the maximum amount of compensation is only $200. So if you don't like it, you have to go visit our head office in South Africa and talk to the manager." Your head office in South Africa? So, on the way back to Korea, I stopped by South Africa. Going there, and I made a plan to threaten them. So when I met the manager once again started to explain about that foolish regulation about something. So I stopped him and said, "Okay, I'll never ask. I will not take any compensation from you. Okay? But when I go back to Korea, I'll start anti-movement against your company through internet. I already purchased the domain antisaa.com and started to build a website. You know, my goal is to make nobody in Korea use South Africa Airways, okay? I lost around $2,000 because of this accident. But let's wait and see who's going to lose bigger money. And you know what? It worked. It's partially because of the South Africa World Cup that would be held next year, 2010. You know, it was 2009. So the manager actually got worried about the sales law at that season in Korea. Or it might be that the manager had heard about Korea's strong internet infrastructure in IT Korea. I don't know why, but anyway, it worked. So he wrote me this official apology letter and made me full compensation. Well, that's it. This is the end of my vacation story. Started with very awful beginning, which turned out to be one of the most awesome of all, like control spectrum, postmaster.